Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It is the latest Quentin Tarantino movie, the ninth Quentin Tarantino film. Welcome, guys. I finally get to review this movie. I've done all of my Tarantino reviews leading up to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm so excited to talk about this movie. I'm so excited to discuss about this film. And without further ado, let's get started on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This movie takes place in a fantasy version of 1969 in Hollywood. We get to see actor Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, who was a washed-up actor for the 1950s, who starred in a show called Bounty Law, this black and white western show, and his buddy, Cliff Booth, played by Brad Pitt, who was also a stunt double. The movie centers around those two and their relationship, and also Sharon Tate, played by the great and beautiful and talented Margaret Robbie. Honestly, from the trailers, I didn't know what to expect. I knew this movie was based on Sharon Tate and what happened to her in 1969, and I didn't really knew that Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth were fake actors. These were fake characters. These are not real actors that DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are playing. So I saw the trailer. I thought it was great, and since it's Quentin Tarantino, the man, he is one of the best, if not the best, filmmaker working today. Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite directors. He's one of my inspirations. I remember when I watched Pulp Fiction as an 11-year-old on TV and being just mesmerized, and my attention was caught the second I saw that movie, and I thought to myself, now that is a movie. That is a movie. And 9 movies in, and Quentin Tarantino shows that, yeah, this man can never make a bad film. And it is great to talk about a movie that is out during the summertime, that is not a reboot, not a sequel, not a prequel, not based on any existing source material, not a comic book movie, not a movie based on a cartoon, TV show, or an old movie from the 80s. None of that. This is an original movie made by one of the greatest directors of all time, with a great cast and a great all-around well-crafted crew, and just a great movie in general. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a movie that is for people who love movies, and especially the fact that the time period that this movie takes place in, and which movie takes place during the, I would say, golden age of films. I'm not completely sure the right term for that, but it takes place during a time period where a lot of great movies were coming out, a lot of great directors were coming in, and just the decade and era that Quentin Tarantino were inspired by for films. And it's also a great movie for Quentin Tarantino to make, because for a guy who loves movies, for a guy who loves storytelling, this was a great way to just have a homage and a love letter to the era of 1960s movies and actors and television shows. This was just a great homage and tribute that Quentin Tarantino has made for a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that he loves movies so much, and that he grew up in the 60s and 70s, and especially since you guys seen his movies, and you guys know that those movies, his previous movies that he made, were inspired by the era and time period that this movie takes place in. I do gotta say this. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood might be Tarantino's most lighthearted film. This isn't very hard-R and graphic like the Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2, or Inglourious Basterds, or Pulp Fiction, or any of his other movies. This movie doesn't rely on a lot of violence and just blood and just so many just over-the-top stuff. I mean, this is a Tarantino movie, and the movie does have Tarantino aspects that make you go, oh yeah, this is definitely directed by Quentin Tarantino. And you don't even have to look up the director of this movie, because his storytelling, the way he tells the story, and the way that he writes, the way that he wrote this film, and the way that the actors are acting, and the dialogue, is very Tarantino-esque. And that shows that this director is just one of the best in his game. It's also great and just mind-blowing to see a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt in a movie together. I'm not sure they ever been in a movie together. I believe this is their first movie where they are in a movie together. And just having these two together in a movie is a dream come true. I love these actors. I grew up watching these actors. I grew up watching their films growing up. and just have these two actors together, especially how they were prime actors in the 90s, and they've been in a lot of movies in the 90s, and how they're in a movie together. And this, for the very first time, probably, I'm not completely sure, I'm not 100% if they are, but since I believe this is their first movie together, like, wow, these two, their chemistry and their relationship, I bought their relationship. Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton, their friendship, these two are just, they're amazing. Like, they're Leo and Brad Pitt deserve Oscar nominations for these roles. Like, they do a fantastic job playing these two actors, how to get through Hollywood, how to get through life, how to get through a lot of things in this film, and the struggles they face in this film, especially with Rick Dalton, especially with him trying to be the actor that he was again, that he was in the 50s on the TV show, and this Cliff Booth, and the trouble that he run into later on in this movie, which I won't get into because of spoilers, but we see the movie, but if you have seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. Speaking of Cliff Booth, this might be my favorite character in this entire film. I love Rick Dalton, I do, but his Brad Pitt brings his swagger and his Brad Pitt-isms in Cliff Booth as this character. And it's not just the fact that, oh, it's Brad Pitt doing his usual Brad Pitt stuff. He does his usual Brad Pitt stuff, but he just never, every time he does it, it's never stale. It's never old when Brad Pitt plays these type of characters. This is cool, swagger, badass character that he plays. Because Cliff Booth is one of my favorite Tarantino characters thus far. Like, I love this character. I just love every scene that he's in. And towards the end of the movie, where that big ending happens, no spoilers, but if you guys see the movie, you already know what I'm talking about. When that ending happens, between him and Rick Dalton, it is one of the best endings I've ever seen in a film, and this might give Avengers Endgame a run for its money with that film's final act, because the final act in this movie, whoa, just whoa, I was not seeing that coming at all. I thought it was gonna go one direction because of what happened in real life, but I realized that, you know what, this is a Tarantino movie, and when Tarantino takes stuff that had happened in American history, like he did with Inglourious Basterds and Django Unchained, he does his own version that switches around saying that, hey, how about we have the movie end like this? How about this what should have been happening in real life? I do want to talk about Margaret Robbie as Sharon Tate. However, she doesn't appear as often as I thought she would in this movie, but when she does, and when she's on screen, I thought that she does a fantastic job on playing this person who tragically died in 1969 that the movie takes place in. And for those of you who don't know, Sharon Tate was an actress from the 60s. She was in movies like Valley of the Dolls. Yeah, she was tragically and unfortunately murdered by Charles Manson. And this was during the time that the Charles Manson thing was going on. And for the past 2 years, I've been looking up on that story. I've been watching Sharon Tate movies. I've been looking up articles about the murder of Sharon Tate and watch documentaries to prep up for this movie. Because way before this movie was in production, like, I didn't really know anything about Sharon Tate until, like, Quentin Tarantino announced this movie, and I started to look her up. I started to look up, like, what happened to her, and just hearing all the tragic stuff, it's crazy, and it's sick for, like, an actress like her die so young and while pregnant, just tragically killed by some sicko like Manson. This movie isn't really about that. It is featured in this film. It is. Like I said, I can't get into any spoilers. See the movie for yourself and experience that, and what Tarantino did with that, you guys are going to love it. I guarantee. Also, a standout in this movie was the little girl, the little child actress that Rick Dalton was talking to, like, during set of a movie that he was filming. And I thought that their interaction was just one of the best, probably my favorite part in this movie, I believe, other than the ending. Because those two interacting at just her age. A girl her age talking, having this conversation with Rick Dalton. I'm just like, wow, this young girl can act. This young girl can act. And just how she just whispered to Rick Dalton after they're done shooting the movie. She was like, that is the best acting I've ever seen in my whole life. But just Rick Dalton was like, how he just feels so touched, and I just like love that. I love that so much. Leonardo DiCaprio's acting and that girl's interaction was just amazing. Like one of the best actor performances I've seen this year. I mean, this is just a great movie to just watch, especially if you love movies and have a passion for film and just want to get into the film industry. Go ahead and go rush out to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because guys, hear me out. Hear me out on this. As much as I love the comic book movies and the Marvel films and the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all these reboots and just lifeless Disney remakes, live action remakes that's coming out, and all these other unoriginal ideas that are based on existing properties and products, take a break from that, guys. Take a break from that and go see movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because this movie is definitely worth all the money. And this movie have no business being in second place at the box office while Lion King is still number one. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I get it. I get it. People love nostalgia, but take a break from all that, push all that to the side, and go see this movie, and you'll know what filmmaking and the films are all about. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is worth your time, and it's worth all your money. And guys, if you love Tarantino, if you love 1960s Hollywood films, if you love the 1960s, if you love DiCaprio, Pitt, Margaret Robbie, or if you're into the whole Sharon Tate, Charlie Manson, murder, mystery, all that stuff, go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It is worth your time. And please, guys, don't go on the internet saying, oh, we need more original movies, F all these reboots and sequels that's coming out. Then you go see the reboots, sequel that you're complaining about, and just ignore all these great original films like this. I am going to give Once Upon a Time in Hollywood an A. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if you have seen this film, let me know what you think of the movie in the comment section down below. And try to rank on your Tarantino movies. What's your favorite Tarantino film? What's your least favorite Tarantino film? And just try to rank them from worst to best, or best to worst, or whatever works for you. And guys, please go see this movie. Please go. And try to see this movie 35mm film if that's in your area, because I saw this movie yesterday, 35mm film, and it looked fantastic. It was stellar 35mm. Yeah, so yeah, guys, go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And if you're new to my channel and you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.